Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my dear students. How are you all? Welcome to my biology class. I'm your biology teacher, M. Jahidul Hassan. So today we are going to learn from chapter 3, and that means today we are going to talk about cell division. Okay. So now let's start our class. So at the very beginning, you need to know what is cell division. So cell division, is a very complex series of changes that occurs in a cell, in the nucleus of a cell, and that leads to the production of two new cells. Okay, so and the new cells, which are actually emerges from the previous cell is called the daughter cells, and here the nuclei of the daughter cells are usually identical to each other to that of the parent cell. Okay, this is the typical scenario. And the daughter cells that grows and increase in size until they divide and produce two more daughter cells. So this process continues, and as a result, growth occurs and reproduction takes place. Okay, so every living body is actually made up of cell or cells, and the life of every organism actually it starts with a single cell. In fact, every cell is originated from a pre-existing one. This is obvious. And the increase of cells in number through division is a very natural and important process. Okay. So the bodies of some organisms are composed of a single cell, and they are called unicellular organism. And some of the organisms' body are multicellular. They are called multicellular organisms. So for unicellular organism, cell division is very vital for their reproduction, and for multicellular organism, cell division is very important for their not only for their reproduction but also for their growth. Okay, and we can divide the cell division into two types, mitosis and meiosis, and today we are going to talk about the mitosis only. And here the interesting fact, biology, the only science where multiplication and division mean the same thing. Okay, so now you can ask me, sir, why do cells divide? Okay, cells, they divide because of growth, because of repair and replace dead cells, and they also cell division is also for especially plants or in plants or mm, unicellular organisms, asexual reproduction. These things is also related to the cell division, and indirectly the sexual reproduction is also related to the cell division. Now today we are going to talk about actually the process of mitosis. There are two types of cell division, mitosis and mitosis. Through this process of division, an eukaryotic cell, it divides into two identical daughter cells. Okay, and in this process, the nucleus and chromosomes are divided only one and only once, and two identical daughter cells are produced with the same type of chromosome in number, physical, and structural features as their mother cell. That's why this mitosis is also known as equational division. Okay, and mitosis occurs in somatic cells of the eukaryotic organism, and through this division, as the number of cells increases, plants and animals grow. That means this mitosis is responsible for the growth of the organism. Okay, and that's why in this process takes place in the body cells of animals and in the meristems of the plant parts growing. Okay, and okay, now let's talk about the stages of mitosis. So mitosis is a continuous process. Okay, and during mitosis, we can divide the whole overall mitosis process into 5 stages. Okay, and their sequential stages. Here you see the first stage is called the prophase, or the early prophase. Okay, so prophase, and suppose see here this circle, this one is an animal cell, and I'm going to show you how this animal cell um, uh, mm, di- actually they divide and produce two more daughter cells. Okay, and through mitosis, one parent cell give rise to two more daughter cells. Okay, so now at the very beginning, that means at the very beginning of the early the mitosis, which is called the early prophase or prophase, and this is the first stage of mitosis. Okay, and the nucleus becomes little larger. The nucleus, see here, this one is the nucleus. Okay, suppose this one is the nucleus, though the nucleus is not as large as here we draw, but actually for your better understanding, this one is this nucleus is actually draw in larger in size. Okay, so the nucleus becomes little larger, and chromatin fibers, see here, these are the chromatin fibers, and these chromatin fibers, they start condensing into short, thick, and tightly coiled structure called chromosomes. Okay, condensed means contraction. Okay, and now at this stage, chromosome can be seen with a compound microscope. Okay, usually we are not able to see those chromatins or chromosomes under compound microscope, but during this phase you can visualize them under compound microscope. Okay, through every chromosome then divides into two sister chromatids at the centromere. Actually they remain attached. Okay, here the centromere, this is the location of the centromere. Here these two chromatids are attached, and these divided chromosomes, that means these two chromatids, they are called the sister chromatids. Yeah, these are the sister chromatids, these are the sister chromatids. And what are the relation, what is the relation between then these chromosomes and from these chromatids? Actually they are the non-sister chromatids. Okay, that means here this one and this one, this chromatid and this chromatid, they are non-sister chromatid, but here these two chromatids, that means the chromatids in the within the same chromosome is called sister chromatids, and the chromatids between two different chromosomes are called hmm, non-sister chromatid. Okay, Mm, so in this stage, in this early process, the chromosomes are still attached with each the chromatids are still attached with each other, and it is very difficult to easily count the number of chromosomes in a cell. Like human, we have total 46 chromosomes. That means 23 pairs of chromosomes. But in this stage, you cannot able to count them. Okay, because they are so tiny in size, and though they are in unorganized situation. Okay, and in this stage, mitotic spindle fiber also starts to form. Okay, and then now the late prophase, and the common name of this late prophase is prometaphase. Okay, actually the prometaphase is the most common name, but this is also known as the late prophase, whatever. Early in this stage, spindle apparatus, see here the spindle fiber, which was actually, starts forming from here in this stage, but in the prometaphase stage, spindle apparatus with two poles is developed in plant cells from fiber proteins. Okay, in plant cells, okay, they actually form spindle from fiber proteins, and the middle plane of the spindle apparatus is called the equator. Okay, called the equator, and some fibers of the spindle apparatus made of microtubules of cytoskeleton and are stretched from one pole to another. See here, one pole to another, one pole to another. This spindle apparatuses are stretched, and these are called spindle fibers. Okay, so that means these lines are spindle fibers, and in this stage, kinetochers in the centromere of the chromosomes attached to some fibers of the spindle apparatus. So, see here, this is the region of the kinetocher, and this kinetocher, these things should attach with some of the spindle fibers. Okay, and those fibers are called then traction fiber. Okay, so they are also sometimes called chromosomal fibers, because chromosomes are attached with them, and then chromosomes then start assembling on the equatorial plane Equatorial plane means at the middle position, middle area. So mm, the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus start to disintegrate and disappear. Okay, here in this stage. And in animal cells, the spindle apparatus is developed from centrioles. Centrioles, and the centrioles remain in the tupules with astra ray spreading out from them. So these are the astra rays. Okay, these are also the astra rays. And now so this one is a spindle anatomy, like this is the astar position from where the spindle fibers or astar rays emerges, and here the kind of kinetic or microtubule or the chromosomal fiber. You can see, and here if you zoom here you will see this thing, like this is the centromere and this is the kinetic position. That means the position from where the spindle fibers are attached with the centrum here. This region is called the kinetoteca. Okay. Now, the third stage of mitosis is called the metaphase, and in this stage, chromosomes assemble at the equator region. See, all the chromosomes are here at the equator region. They comes from two poles, and the centromere of each chromosome remains on the equator, but the two arms take position towards the poles. Usually, here in this stage, the two arms they actually starts to take position towards the poles, and the chromosome looks short and thick here in this stage, and the attraction between chromatids between a single chromosome actually declines here in this stage. Okay, and repulsion increases, and as a result at the end of this stage the division of the chromatids, division of the centromere that actually attached, that actually remain attached, those chromatids actually, the division starts occur here at the centromeres, and as a result the nuclear membrane, as a result after this stage it will produce two different separated chromatids. Okay, and the other thing is, in this stage the nuclear membrane and nucleolus disappear completely. See here, there is no nuclear membrane or nucleolus. Okay, and then the fourth stage of mitosis is the anaphase stage, and in this stage the sister chromatids become the two sister chromosomes, and they are pulled apart, and the clip from centromere moves to the pole. And while the chromatids trail behind, each chromosome is splitting into two. See, this I've already learned about it. Each chromosome is split into two, and they actually moves to the pole, while the chromatids tail behind. Here in this scenario, centromere is at the top position, or at the in front position, and these chromosomes are at the tail position, uh, and each chromosome is splitting into two, moves to the two poles, and so the number of chromosomes remains unchanged. Okay, they are just divided. These are the two parts of a single chromosome, not the two chromosomes. That's why the total chromosome number remains unchanged. And on this stage, due to the position of the centromere on the chromosome, they actually looks usually they looks in four different shapes, like V, L, Z, and I shape. And these chromosomes are called, V shape is called the metacentric, L shape is called V shape is called the metacentric, L shape is called the submetacentric, and the J shape is also called acrocentric, and the telocentric is I shape is called the telocentric. So these are the four shapes, V, L, J, and I, due to the position of the centromere on the chromosome. Okay, now here in this telophase, actually at the end of this, so now at the end of this anaphase, actually, um, the daughter chromosomes are completely pulled apart to the two poles and start their elongation. Now, finally, here the for fifth stage of mitosis, and this one is the telophase, and this is the last stage of mitosis, and a reversal of the prophase, just the reversal of the prophase. Chromosomes become decondensed here and surrounded by new nuclei, and they elongate back into thin and long structure called chromatin fibers and form a mesh called the nuclear reticulum. See here the nuclear reticulums, and again at the very beginning the chromosomes, they were actually as chromatin fibers and chromatin reticulums, and at the telophase they again actually they form those chromatin fibers, chromatin reticulum shapes. And the nucleolus also reappears here. See here the nucleolus, it also reappears here. And the nuclear membrane reappears around the nuclear reticulum. So ultimately, two nuclei are formed in the two poles, and the spindle apparatus disintegrate, and so the spindle fiber gradually disappear here. Okay, spindle fiber, see it gradually disappears, starts to disappear, and at the end of this telophase stage, some small parts from the endoplasmic reticulum they aggregate here at the middle portion, and which is called the actually the equatorial plane, and here when they actually deposited here, and collectively they form the structure of the cell plate. Okay, then they form the cell plate here. Okay, see here this position, this thing actually here the cell plate starts to form here, and as a result at the equatorial plane, the equal distribution of the cytoplasmic organelles is accomplished, and as a result two identical daughter cells are developed. And in the case of an animal cell, see in the case of an animal cell, um, a contractile ring on the plasma membrane at the equatorial plane pinches on the two nuclei. Okay, and here this is the scenario for the plant cell. So cytokines, and actually see this is the real image under an electron microscope of when cytokines occur. Cytokines means the phase after the telophase, the phase after the telophase, and mm, mm, this total mitosis process is very vital. This is very significant in the living body of organisms, and because it balance between the nucleus and cytoplasm of a cell in terms of volume and amount. So through mitosis, the growth occurs, then the multicellular organism starts their life from a single cell zygote, and then the repeated division of the single cell produces huge number of cells, and thus an organism grows. So this is very vital process. So thank you all. That's all for today.